The hidden trait that gives you an unfair edge. Machiavelli's secret. There is a hidden force that silently decides who rises above others. A trait so subtle that most people live their entire lives without recognizing it. You've seen it before. Two people with the same skills, the same opportunities, yet one always seems to move through life like the world bends slightly in his favor. That invisible advantage isn't luck nor talent. It's something Machiavelli understood 500 years ago, something buried beneath ambition and intellect, a psychological weapon disguised as character. The one who masters it doesn't chase power. He attracts it. This hidden trait isn't charisma. It isn't intelligence. It's something far colder, sharper, more deliberate, a union between awareness and restraint. It's the ability to see through illusions and act from clarity, not emotion. In Machiavelli's eyes, the truly powerful person isn't the loudest, the richest, or the strongest, but the one who controls the invisible theater of perception. Because life isn't fair, but the mind can be trained to tilt it in your favor. Think for a moment. When was the last time you truly observed others without reacting? When you entered a room and felt the subtle energies shift. When you understood not just what people said, but what they meant. That awareness, that silent understanding is the first door toward this hidden advantage. Machiavelli called it virtù, not virtue as morality, but as strength, presence, and command over fortune itself. It's a way of being that makes people subconsciously rearrange themselves around your calm center. Most people waste this gift by over-expressing, over-explaining, overreacting. They expose their inner weather to the world. The one who possesses this hidden trait does the opposite. He observes, he waits. He lets others reveal themselves first. Like the ancient strategist who wins a battle before it begins, he collects information, measures emotions, and acts only when the world has exhausted itself. That's why his victories seem effortless, because they were decided long before anyone else realized the game had begun. Machiavelli knew that power doesn't belong to those who seek approval, but to those who master perception. Every empire, every kingdom, every corporation is built on this unspoken rule. The one who sees reality without filters and who controls what others see owns the field. And in today's age of noise, distraction, and endless performance, that ability is rarer and more dangerous than ever. So in this video, you'll uncover what that hidden trait really is, how to cultivate it, and how to use it not to manipulate others, but to protect your energy and direct your destiny. By the end, you'll understand why some people always seem to be one move ahead, and how you can quietly join them. Before we begin, comment below this phrase to anchor it within you. I choose awareness over impulse. Let it be your first act of inner power. And if you're ready to explore what Machiavelli never wrote directly, but lived through every word, subscribe, like this video, and stay until the end. The truth I'm about to reveal isn't loud, but once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. To understand Machiavelli's secret, you must step back into the Renaissance, an age where beauty masked brutality and intellect danced with deception. Florence, his city, was a battlefield of minds. Beneath its art and architecture, men played silent wars of influence. Power wasn't taken by the sword. It was crafted through perception. Machiavelli observed this world closely, and what he saw shaped one of the most misunderstood books in history, The Prince. People called it manipulative, even demonic. But behind its cold realism lies a truth few were ready to face, that survival demands perception sharper than morality, and awareness deeper than emotion. In those turbulent years, alliances shifted overnight. A smile could mean loyalty or betrayal. A single misread gesture could end a career or a life. Machiavelli realized that the only true weapon was not force, but psychological clarity. He studied how people reveal themselves unconsciously, through reactions, tone, desires, and fears. He noticed that those who controlled their impulses, who acted not from pride but from strategy, shaped outcomes effortlessly. They possessed an inner equilibrium that others lacked, an invisible discipline. That was his secret trait, the fusion of self-awareness and emotional detachment. Philosophically, Machiavelli's insight cuts through centuries of illusion. He recognized that human beings are not governed by reason, but by appearance and emotion. We judge before we think. We trust the confident, not the truthful. We follow strength, not justice. Those who understand this pattern can lead without force. It's not about deceit, it's about understanding human nature without the veil of idealism. While philosophers dreamt of virtue, Machiavelli studied behavior. While others moralized power, he decoded it. Psychologically, this hidden trait aligns with what modern thinkers call metacognition, the ability to observe your own mind without becoming it, to see your anger without feeding it, to read a situation without projecting your fear into it, to move through chaos with stillness. The person who cultivates this awareness stops reacting to life. He begins designing it. And that's why Machiavelli's teachings, though centuries old, feel eerily modern. Today, the same forces rule us, not kings and armies, but perception, image, reputation. Social hierarchies have evolved, but the same invisible game persists. The one who controls his expression, his timing, his silence, still dominates the field. The same inner weapon that once shaped empires now determines who rises in modern life. In leadership, relationships, business, or art. This is why Machiavelli remains misunderstood. He didn't glorify manipulation. He exposed its mechanics. He revealed the truth most are too fragile to face, that to protect yourself in a world ruled by perception, you must become conscious of the invisible. And that is the beginning of the unfair edge, the capacity to see clearly when others are blinded by emotion. Now we descend deeper into the mechanics of this power, how this hidden trait operates inside your mind and in the minds of others, how it can be sharpened, tested, and ultimately mastered. There's a moment in every person's life when they begin to see, truly see. It's not about new knowledge, but about an internal shift, a quiet unveiling. You begin to notice how much of what surrounds you is built on illusion. People pretending to be confident, relationships based on performance, and power disguised as kindness. This is the threshold Machiavelli crossed centuries ago. He stopped reacting to appearances and began to study them. He realized that what separates the powerless from the powerful is not luck, strength, or intelligence. It's clarity, the ability to pierce through emotional fog and see things for what they truly are, not for what we wish them to be. The hidden trait that gives you an unfair edge is strategic awareness, a mix of emotional detachment, perception, and timing. It's the inner calm that lets you move when others panic, wait when others rush, and act when others hesitate. It's the discipline of mastering your mind before you try to master the world. Machiavelli knew that the person who understands human nature without hating it becomes undefeatable. Because when you see people not as saints or villains, but as predictable beings moved by needs, fears, and vanity, you gain control, not over them, but over how they affect you. Let's begin with the first principle. Detach from emotion to observe the game. Most people think they're rational. They're not. They are emotional beings who justify their impulses after acting. Anger, pride, jealousy. These are invisible puppeteers. They push us to speak when silence would serve us better, to reveal when we should conceal. Machiavelli warned rulers and thinkers alike. The first step to power is not action, but observation. The one who observes without emotional contamination begins to see patterns that others overlook. When you detach from emotion, you stop reacting to manipulation and start reading it. You stop being played and begin to play consciously. Second principle, master perception. Appear calm even when you burn. Machiavelli understood that perception shapes reality. People don't follow truth. They follow confidence. The powerful know this. They craft their presence deliberately, not through lies but through discipline. When the world sees you calm, it assumes you are in control. Your stillness becomes intimidating. When everyone else reacts, your silence becomes power. The person who can project serenity while feeling chaos within has already conquered the field. It's not about pretending. It's about controlling what you reveal. The less people know about your fears, the stronger your position. Remember this. In every interaction, the one who appears less affected holds the upper hand. Third principle. Observe what others reveal unconsciously. Machiavelli spent his life studying not words, but micro-expressions, gestures, inconsistencies. He noticed that people rarely say what they mean. They leak it through tone, posture, timing. The untrained mind listens to words. The aware mind reads intention. When someone flatters you too much, they often want control. When they interrupt often, they crave dominance. When they seek validation, they reveal insecurity. Life is a theater, and most people perform without realizing it. The Machiavellian mind doesn't judge the performance. It studies it. The more you observe without emotional bias, the more predictable people become. Fourth principle, use time as a weapon. Impatience is emotional exposure. The moment you rush, you lose leverage. Machiavelli saw that fortune, what he called fortuna, favors those who know when to wait. Timing, in his philosophy, was everything. The wise don't chase opportunity. They let opportunity mature. They let others exhaust themselves in motion while they gather clarity in stillness. When the right moment arrives, their action seems effortless, but it is the product of long inner preparation. The modern world worships speed, but true power lies in controlled timing. The one who moves with patience makes others dance to his rhythm. Fifth principle: cultivate mystery, never be fully known. This may be the most uncomfortable lesson. We live in an age that glorifies transparency, but Machiavelli knew the power of opacity. When people cannot fully read you, they fill the void with respect or fear. Predictability breeds control by others. Mystery breeds fascination and caution. Do not reveal your every motive, your every plan. Let your actions speak and let your silences confuse. You don't need to explain your evolution to those who can't understand it. The one who keeps a part of himself in shadow controls the narrative. Even kings feared what they couldn't predict, and that's why they respected it. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, do you reveal too much? Do you try to explain yourself to people who have already decided what they want to see? Comment below this phrase to anchor this lesson into your consciousness. I protect my mystery because it protects my power. Sixth principle: understand the psychology of masks. Everyone wears one. Machiavelli never condemned it. He saw it as necessary armor. Society demands we wear certain faces: polite, confident, humble, strong. The mistake isn't wearing a mask. It's believing it's who you are. The wise person knows when to shift between masks strategically, not deceitfully, but consciously. You cannot show the same face to your enemy that you show to your friend, nor to your superior the same that you show to your equal. The art lies in awareness, wearing masks without losing your core. When you master this, you move through any social structure without being consumed by it. Seventh principle: control information like it's currency. In Machiavelli's world, knowledge was more valuable than gold. The one who knew the most about others, their weaknesses, alliances, desires, could predict the future. In modern life, information control still reigns. Every detail you share becomes potential leverage. Every piece you withhold becomes protection. Don't confuse honesty with exposure. You can be authentic without being transparent. The person who speaks little but observes much becomes the strategist everyone underestimates, until it's too late. Eighth principle: study human weakness without cynicism. Machiavelli's true brilliance was not cruelty, it was understanding. He didn't hate human nature, he accepted it. He saw that people are guided by fear, greed, vanity, and desire for validation. Once you accept this, you stop expecting purity and you begin to work with reality. You anticipate betrayal, not out of paranoia, but out of understanding. You prepare not for perfection, but for imperfection. When you stop being shocked by human inconsistency, you gain serenity. That serenity is your shield. It prevents disappointment from controlling you. Ninth principle: use silence to create unease. Powerful people use silence as others use words. Machiavelli observed that silence disorients manipulators because they rely on your reaction. When you don't respond, they reveal themselves. In silence, people project their fears and the truth surfaces naturally. When you say nothing, others fill the void with their own assumptions, and you gain insight. Silence isn't weakness, it's psychological pressure. It's the art of letting others expose themselves while you remain unreadable. 10th principle: always think 3 moves ahead. For Machiavelli, life was not a straight path, but a chessboard. Every move reveals intention, and every reaction exposes emotion. Thinking 3 moves ahead doesn't mean over-planning. It means anticipating human behavior. You learn to predict not outcomes, but reactions. When you see how people are likely to respond, you no longer fear uncertainty. You act with quiet precision, as if the future were already written. This calm foresight makes you appear prophetic, but it's nothing mystical. It's awareness sharpened by observation. At this point, you can feel it, the shift from reacting to observing, from emotional turbulence to strategic calm. You begin to realize that the real battlefield isn't outside, it's internal. The hidden trait Machiavelli mastered wasn't domination, but self-command. Because when you control yourself, you no longer need to control others. The world begins to align itself around your composure. In the next part, we will go even deeper into the paradoxes and hidden layers of this awareness. You'll see why power without restraint is self-destruction, and why the rarest form of dominance is quiet neutrality. There's a paradox at the heart of Machiavellian wisdom. The more control you try to have over others, the more control you lose over yourself. The one who seeks to dominate through fear or manipulation ends up being consumed by the very energies he's trying to command. True power, Machiavelli realized, isn't about ruling others. It's about mastering perception, including your own. The hidden trait that gives you an unfair edge is not aggression, nor charm, nor intelligence. It's composure. An energy so subtle it doesn't scream power, it radiates it. When you are composed, you become unreadable, and therefore untouchable. The world is full of people who live in reaction. They are offended, angered, flattered, provoked. But when you cultivate stillness, you become a mirror. People project themselves onto you and reveal who they are without realizing it. This is the essence of psychological dominance. You understand others, but no one fully understands you. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both lion and fox, courageous enough to act, but cunning enough to know when not to. But beneath this metaphor lies something deeper, the art of balance. If you are all lion, you burn out. If you are all fox, you lose respect. Power belongs to the one who can be both, fierce in spirit, but measured in action. First deeper layer, control your inner theater. Machiavelli saw the world as a stage, not metaphorically, but psychologically. Everyone is acting, consciously or not. The most dangerous actor is the one who forgets he's performing. When you become aware of your roles, your mask at work, your tone with friends, your posture around authority, you regain authorship over your identity. The unaware person gets lost in his character. The aware person directs the play. This awareness creates a quiet magnetism. You're no longer desperate to convince or impress. You become intentional. Every gesture, every silence, every glance becomes deliberate. People sense this difference instinctively. They call it charisma, but it's simply consciousness refined. Second deeper layer, withdraw from emotional contagion. In Machiavelli's Florence, emotions were weapons. A rumor could destroy reputations overnight. He learned to remain emotionally detached in the midst of hysteria. Centuries later, we live the same pattern through social media, outrage, envy, and constant comparison. Emotional contagion, the psychological phenomenon where you absorb the moods of others, weakens your sovereignty. When you let others decide how you feel, you hand them your inner kingdom. The hidden trait demands emotional quarantine. Before reacting, breathe, observe, delay. The first person to calm down is always the first to regain control. Third, deeper layer. Use perception as architecture. Machiavelli taught that perception isn't something you simply endure. It's something you build. Every detail of how you move, speak, and respond communicates a message. People don't read your intentions. They read your patterns. When you're inconsistent, they sense weakness. When you're too eager, they sense dependency. When you stand firm but calm, they sense power. The key is subtle calibration. Speak less. Observe more. When you do speak, let your words carry precision, not quantity. The less you say, the more each word weighs. The less you show, the more others imagine. Perception becomes your architecture, a structure that others must navigate, while you remain its invisible designer. Fourth deeper layer. Learn the paradox of empathy and detachment. Machiavelli never denied empathy. He redefined it. To him, understanding others was the foundation of strategy. But empathy without detachment becomes emotional suicide. You must understand people deeply without merging with their chaos. Observe suffering, but don't drown in it. Recognize manipulation, but don't respond with revenge. The combination of empathy and distance allows you to read others like an open book while remaining unreadable yourself. It's the ability to care with your heart but decide with your mind. That's the rarest form of intelligence, emotional precision. Fifth, deeper layer. Use chaos as camouflage. Power thrives in confusion. When people are uncertain, they cling to the calmest presence in the room. Machiavelli knew that in times of disorder, leadership is not claimed. It's gravitational. You become the center when you remain composed while others spiral. That's why crises reveal true rulers. When everyone reacts, you strategize. When others drown in fear, you plan. The hidden trait makes you immune to chaos. Not because chaos disappears, but because you stop feeding it. Comment below this phrase to anchor this truth. My calmness is my control. Let it remind you that composure is not passivity. its direction disguised as peace. Sixth, deeper layer, the economy of expression. Machiavelli understood that expression is energy. Every opinion, every argument, every confession costs psychological capital. The more you talk, the more you expose your map. He advised rulers to be measured in speech, because words once released cannot be retrieved. In modern life, this applies beyond politics. Oversharing your dreams, your wounds, your anger dilutes your magnetism. The truly strategic mind speaks rarely, listens fully, and acts silently. When you conserve expression, you build tension, and tension is influence. People lean toward what they cannot fully decode. Seventh, deeper layer, the illusion of goodness. Machiavelli's most controversial statement was that a ruler must appear virtuous, not necessarily be virtuous. He wasn't praising hypocrisy, he was describing realism. Goodness, when displayed recklessly, becomes vulnerability. The world exploits the naive idealist. To survive, one must balance morality with discernment. Be kind but not blind. Be generous but never predictable. Display warmth with awareness, not obligation. The power of selective goodness is that it maintains authenticity without sacrificing protection. Eighth, deeper layer, transform pain into perception. Every strategist has scars. Machiavelli's life was marked by betrayal and exile. But rather than drown in bitterness, he turned pain into pattern recognition. He learned to read suffering as data. Each disappointment revealed human motives more clearly. The same applies to you. The betrayals you endure, the losses you suffer, they are not curses, they are education. Each wound refines your discernment, polishing your awareness until it becomes instinct. This is how wisdom is born, not from success, but from reflection on pain. Ninth, deeper layer, the art of calculated vulnerability. To gain trust, Machiavelli advised revealing controlled weakness, not because he believed in manipulation, but because he understood psychology. When people see you as perfect, they compete with you. When they sense slight vulnerability, they relax. You disarm them by showing what you choose, not what you can't hide. It's a delicate balance. Reveal just enough to seem human, but never enough to lose leverage. The mind that understands this distinction commands both warmth and respect. 10th, deeper layer. Become the observer of your own ego. Machiavelli's final secret was never written plainly. It hides between the lines of his works. The awareness that power without self-awareness collapses. The ego craves recognition, but the wise crave understanding. Every time you react defensively, you lose altitude. The ego wants to win arguments. The conscious mind wants to win clarity. When you observe your ego, when you catch the flicker of pride or fear before it controls you, you enter the highest form of mastery. You become immune to manipulation because no one can trigger what you already understand. You see now that Machiavelli's hidden trait is not cruelty or deceit. It's consciousness wielded like a blade. To hold awareness without losing compassion. To act with reason when others are blind with emotion. To remain unreadable while reading everyone else. That's the essence of his genius. In a world where most people trade authenticity for attention, restraint becomes rebellion. Silence becomes influence. Stillness becomes command. The new Machiavellian isn't a schemer in shadows. He's the one who walks through chaos untouched, calm, patient, deliberate. In the next section, we'll explore how to apply this awareness in your daily life, how to practice it in conversation, decision-making, and conflict. You'll learn concrete ways to train your composure, sharpen your observation, and embody this hidden edge until it becomes second nature. You've now seen how Machiavelli's hidden trait, strategic awareness combined with composure, forms the foundation of quiet power. But philosophy without practice is only decoration for the mind. Knowledge must become rhythm, a discipline lived daily, almost unconsciously. So now we translate this awareness into concrete actions, ways to live, think, speak, and observe that naturally set you apart. What follows isn't theory, it's a way of being. A way that bends perception in your favor, not through manipulation, but through mastery of yourself. Let's begin with a simple truth. The most powerful person in any room is the one who feels the least need to prove anything. This attitude cannot be faked. It is born from self-understanding, from an intimate relationship with your own mind. Every morning, begin your day with a moment of still observation. Sit in silence for a few minutes and study your thoughts as if they belong to someone else. Don't judge them. Don't correct them. Just watch. This trains your awareness to stand above emotion, to see yourself as Machiavelli saw human nature, clearly without sentimentality. With time, this habit rewires the nervous system. You begin to respond, not react. That's your first layer of control. Invisible, but felt by everyone around you. Practice the art of emotional delay. When something triggers you, anger, envy, insult, imagine your mind as a stage. Watch the emotion enter, perform, and leave. Don't throw it out. Don't applaud it either. The more you observe emotions without acting on them, the weaker their grip becomes. Machiavelli wrote that the wise must act from necessity, not impulse. When you delay reaction, you see the situation's full landscape. You begin to choose moves consciously, not instinctively. This one practice, emotional delay, will quietly make you more intelligent, more unpredictable, and more powerful than most people you'll ever meet. Speak only when words have strategic weight. Each word you release carries energy. The average person speaks to fill silence, to seek validation, or to ease anxiety. But silence itself is influence. Practice withholding commentary unless it advances clarity, strengthens trust, or redirects energy. When you do speak, make your words slow and intentional. People will begin to lean in. The less they hear from you, the more each sentence becomes magnetic. Machiavelli observed that a wise man immediately does what a fool does eventually. The wise speak with precision. The fool speaks with noise. Control your speech and you control your image, and your image shapes how reality treats you. Observe patterns instead of incidents. This is a powerful habit. The untrained mind reacts to isolated events. The strategic mind sees repetition. Notice how people behave under pressure, how they treat those with no advantage, how they speak when they think no one's listening. Patterns never lie. Once you see them, you stop taking betrayal personally. You stop expecting loyalty from opportunists and truth from liars. You begin to play life like chess, not with arrogance but with foresight. Every disappointment becomes data. Every pattern reveals hidden motives. Use boundaries as silent weapons. Machiavelli taught that strength often lies in what you deny. The ability to say no without guilt separates those who command their life from those who are enslaved by it. When you withhold access to your time, energy, attention, you raise your perceived value. People start to measure their words around you. They approach with more respect. Boundaries, when executed calmly, are invisible power fields. They communicate, "I'm selective, not desperate," and that energy silently rearranges the dynamics of every relationship you enter. Master non-reactive presence in conflict. This is where Machiavellian awareness becomes visible. When confronted or criticized, most people rush to defend. That's a trap. The one who defends too quickly exposes insecurity. Instead, let silence stretch. Look, breathe, think. In that pause, you reclaim control. The attacker grows uncertain. They reveal more of their true motive. If you must respond, do so with calm precision. Short sentences, steady tone, unwavering eye contact. The goal is not victory. It's control of the emotional climate. This composure transforms tension into authority. Pause here and anchor this lesson in your mind by commenting below. My silence commands more than my words. It's not just a phrase, it's a training. Manage your reputation as an artist manages light. Machiavelli understood that perception, not truth, governs human response. Your reputation precedes you everywhere. Cultivate it intentionally. Be reliable in excellence, mysterious in method. Deliver results quietly. Let others discover your value. When you make your image consistent, calm, competent, and rare, you no longer chase opportunities. They chase you. Remember, people don't trust perfection, they trust patterns. So build your pattern consciously. Every interaction should echo stability and precision. Learn the discipline of selective exposure. The more people know about your plans, the more angles they can exploit. Guard your intentions. Share them only with those whose loyalty you have tested through time and silence. Modern society glorifies openness, but exposure is vulnerability. Machiavelli's wisdom was never about lying. It was about timing truth. Let your actions reveal your path after it is secure. The quieter your preparation, the louder your success will sound. 8. Transform solitude into strategy. Spend time alone, not as escape, but as refinement. Solitude sharpens insight. The crowd dilutes it. Machiavelli, during his exile, used isolation to refine his mind into a weapon. When you step away from constant noise, social media, opinions, validation, your thoughts regain strength. Patterns emerge. Ideas connect. The best strategies in life come from silence, not applause. Use your solitude to write, reflect, and study human nature. Not from judgment, but from fascination. When you return to society, you'll see through it like glass. Convert your routine into training. The mind becomes what it repeatedly practices. Every small act can reinforce composure. When you wake, delay checking your phone. You're training self-command. When you listen to someone without interrupting, you're training awareness. When you resist explaining yourself unnecessarily, you're training restraint. When you walk slowly through chaos, you're training emotional immunity. Nothing in your life is neutral. Every action either weakens or strengthens your inner discipline. Practice the art of controlled unpredictability. Predictability is the death of power. Once others can predict your reactions, they can manipulate them. Occasionally do the unexpected, not from impulse but from intention. Refuse invitations without explanation. Change your rhythm. Alter your approach. This keeps others slightly uncertain, and uncertainty breeds respect. Machiavelli taught that fear of the unknown preserves influence better than constant familiarity. Controlled unpredictability prevents others from building strategies against you. Now, these practices alone will change your entire presence, but they must be sustained through inner clarity. So let's go deeper into the inner exercises Machiavelli would have approved of, even if he never named them. Every evening, review your day like a strategist reviewing a battlefield. Ask yourself 3 questions. Where did I lose composure? What emotion controlled me today? What could I have done with more awareness? Don't self-punish. Self-reflect. Awareness expands only through observation, not judgment. With time, you'll notice fewer emotional leaks and more moments of calm dominance. Another exercise, mirror meditation. Stand before a mirror not to admire yourself, but to read yourself. Observe your posture, your micro-expressions, your breathing. Do you look defensive, impatient, or grounded? The more aware you are of your own body language, the more effectively you'll read others. This is how Machiavellian clarity is built, not by theory but by self-study. And remember this rule, never rush influence. Machiavelli knew that the most dangerous form of power is quiet consistency. You don't need to demand respect, you create conditions where it becomes natural. You don't need to chase authority, you evolve into someone whose presence speaks louder than arguments. That transformation happens one small act of awareness at a time. At this stage, you'll start to notice something subtle but profound. People react differently to you. They speak slower, they reveal more, they try harder to earn your attention. That's not magic. That's the energy of composure rewriting the invisible social contract. You have become what Machiavelli called a master of fortune, not a victim of its storms, but a navigator of its winds. Finally, beware of the greatest obstacle to this transformation, the ego's addiction to validation. The moment you seek to display your new calmness for approval, you lose it. This trait must remain sacred, practiced for its own sake, not performance. Power that is shown too soon provokes resistance. Power that is felt in silence commands devotion. So start small, a glance held longer, a silence maintained, a boundary drawn. Each one teaches the world to treat you differently. You are reprogramming perception, and through perception, destiny. In the next and final part, we will close the circle. You'll see how all these pieces, observation, restraint, timing, mystery, form not just a strategy, but a philosophy of being. You'll understand why Machiavelli's hidden secret isn't darkness, but clarity, and why the calm mind ultimately wins over all forms of chaos. The world rewards noise, but bows before stillness. That's the paradox Machiavelli uncovered centuries ago, and the one you are now beginning to embody. The hidden trait that gives you an unfair edge is not manipulation, deceit, or dominance. It's inner command. It's the ability to remain centered while others lose balance, to act with intention while others react from impulse, to understand human nature deeply without being corrupted by it. This is the rarest form of intelligence. Power without pride, strength without aggression, clarity without cruelty. Machiavelli was never the villain history painted him to be. He was a mirror, showing humanity what it truly is when stripped of illusions. He observed how men worship virtue in speech but betray it in action. He understood that the world is not kind to the naive, nor fair to the honest who lack discernment. Yet he did not advise cruelty. He advised awareness. Because awareness is the only antidote to manipulation, the only real armor in a world built on appearances. To see through illusion is to reclaim freedom. And that is what this hidden trait truly offers. freedom from emotional slavery. When you practice composure, you detach from the invisible strings that control the masses. The need to be liked, to be right, to be first. You begin to operate from quiet necessity, not desperate desire. You stop announcing your worth and start radiating it. People feel it in the subtleties, in the calm of your eyes, the steadiness of your tone, the precision of your words. You no longer need to force outcomes because your energy directs the unseen. Timing, opportunities, respect. This is not mysticism. It's psychological gravity. Those who move with awareness alter the emotional climate around them. Now you understand why so many powerful figures throughout history have echoed Machiavelli's core idea without naming it. Napoleon, Sun Tzu, Marcus Aurelius, and Jung all spoke of the same truth under different symbols, that the real kingdom is inward. Master that, and the outer world bends quietly. Fail to, and no throne can save you. The person who cannot rule his mind will be ruled by his emotions, and through them by anyone clever enough to provoke him. That's the true danger of ignorance. Not weakness, but predictability. The composed person becomes unpredictable, not by chaos but by depth. No one can guess his reactions because he no longer has automatic ones. This confuses manipulators and intrigues thinkers. It separates him from the crowd. You see, when you walk through life with awareness, your silence speaks volumes. Your restraint unsettles those who rely on noise. Your patience exposes their impulsiveness, and eventually they adjust to your rhythm. That is quiet domination, not through control, but through gravity. Let's return for a moment to Florence, to Machiavelli writing by candlelight in exile, stripped of power, yet more powerful than ever. He had lost his position, his reputation, even his safety, but not his clarity. He wrote The Prince not as a guide for tyrants, but as a revelation, a manual for navigating a world that punishes purity and rewards perception. He wanted the few who could read between the lines to understand that life's highest victory is not survival, it's sovereignty. Sovereignty of the mind, the emotions, the image. When you possess that, no one can truly defeat you. And this perhaps is the ultimate revelation. Machiavelli's secret was never about winning the world. It was about not losing yourself to it. The hidden trait is self-possession, the rare ability to remain whole when the world pulls at every thread of your identity. When you master this, the opinions of others become background noise. Success and failure stop defining you. You begin to live from a deeper axis, calm, strategic, alive. The irony of Machiavellian wisdom is that it leads not to cruelty but to compassion. Because once you see human nature clearly, once you understand how fragile, fearful, and longing people truly are, you stop hating them. You start navigating them with patience. You forgive silently, not for moral reasons, but because you no longer need revenge to feel powerful. That is emotional transcendence disguised as strategy. So the next time life challenges you, when someone disrespects you, when you feel misunderstood, when chaos surrounds you, remember this teaching. Do not fight for control. Become control. Slow your breath. See the field. Observe patterns. Respond only when necessary. Let silence do its work. The storm will spend itself, and you will still be standing, not by chance but by design. Machiavelli's secret then is not darkness. It's lucidity. He simply saw what others refused to see. That truth stripped of morality and emotion becomes power. The one who can look at life without illusion holds an advantage that can't be taken. Because clarity is permanent armor. Once you have it, you cannot be deceived again. So as you step back into your world, the meetings, the relationships, the noise, carry this with you. You don't need to control everything. You only need to control your perception. The rest follows. Influence begins not with authority, but with awareness. Command begins not with volume, but with calm. The true Machiavellian doesn't conquer others. He conquers himself. And that conquest, silent and unseen, changes everything. Now, if you felt this message, take a moment to affirm it in the comments. Write, I choose clarity over chaos. Let that be your personal declaration, the beginning of a new kind of power. And before you go, remember this. The greatest edge you can ever have isn't being smarter, stronger, or richer. It's being centered. When the world storms, you remain still. When others break, you breathe. That is how history's invisible rulers moved, not loudly but deliberately. If this spoke to something deep within you, stay with this channel. Like, subscribe, and share this message so that more minds awaken to this forgotten art of awareness. Because somewhere inside you, Machiavelli's calm observer lives, waiting to guide you beyond illusion into quiet dominion. You have nothing left to prove, only everything to understand.